Greetings, dear precious spirit soul that you are. And even those words are sounds and can never actually describe you. And interesting, the word scribe means to write, and dis is not to. Okay. Because what happens, okay, my topic. What is our greatest challenge? What is it? And, I've been working on this. I really started seriously getting into my spiritual life when I was 17 in this earthly time age. And I was getting ready to leave, high school and then see what's next. And it was great because I could stay at home and go to junior college, Orange Coast College. It was great. And, but actually that's when I started opening up to my spirituality right when I was about to leave high school. And I've been looking for God, and I was going to all these standard brand churches and all of this, and nothing really resonated with me. So this one time I'm sitting in this church, and it was after service, and I really tried to understand what he was saying or how I related or whatever it was. And everybody was gone, and I was sitting there by myself, and there I'm 17. No, I'm not, but the body is. And I thought, I'm not feeling anything. Where's God? Where's God? I mean, wouldn't it be some big deal or something? So that night I went home, and I always would say the Lord's Prayer for some reason, but we weren't raised, grew up as children to be any particular religion or that sort of thing. We really had a lot of freedom to choose, but obviously we're all programmed anyway. So just from the culture, the consciousness. And at bed that night, I just said to God, I said, if you really exist, you've got to find me because I can't find you. Please find me because I want to know you. I want to know if you exist. I want to know what is there? Who am I? What's possible? What's going on? And it was very shortly after that a couple weeks or so, because see, hindsight's always 20/20. It gives you that opportunity to actually really notice the result of when you actually did turn over your situation or problem to the divine, to the God presence that you are part of, that is with you and you are with always. And because most people try and solve things in the mind, but the mind is the creator of the problem. So you're going to the creator of the problem to solve the problem. So all it can do is give you a solution that's going to be another problem, because it's a reel, you might say, like a movie reel, but it's not authentic or our true state of being. And so we have to look at what is our greatest challenge. And so at that time then, I went to stay with my great-grandmother, and I met Violet Bertram, and she was a spiritual teacher, practitioner, prayer therapist, all this cool person. And she was talking metaphysics, which I began to understand what could I apply from the teachings of Jesus and also great teachers of, from all walks of life, truly. Because if you're a real researcher, you don't go with a predetermined idea of what you're going to try and prove. That's what people do when they go in to study something. They usually try and gather information to validate or justify their belief system or what they are trying to promote or protect or whatever that is, these thoughts, these beliefs, these concepts. So anyway, then when I was studying with Violet and my great-grandmother, Nanny, over breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we sat at the kitchen table in my grandma's place, and we talked metaphysics. And I go, wow, this is like, I started to really get how it related to me, what I could use, how I could live my life, how I could manifest the life that I desired. And I wasn't going to be like in situations where I watched all these adults and the word adult means stupid person. So when you say adult, well, I'm an adult, people don't realize that they're actually spell casting on themselves through the sounds, through the words, through the meaning that are given to all of these sounds and words, the definitions, and therefore thoughts are things. This is how it works. So anyway, so when I started really opening myself to the spiritual realm of what was really possible for me, it's just beginning steps, obviously, but it was where I felt called. And I found the greatest challenge is always being able to truly trust your inner knowing and the path that you're on without, what is it? Allowing others to knock you off your path. And what happens in my book, What You Think of Me is None of My Business. And I recently have an article in the Lotus magazine coming out of Chico, California. Wonderful, great people. Rahasya and Darya are the publishers. And it's called What You Think of You is None of Your Business, you see. Because if we take a look and you say, well, you're the word lady, the this, that, so, well, wait a minute. Have you ever looked at what is creating and what is manifesting? And why would all of the basic standard brand news stations, whether it's radio, public TV, public internet, regular, any of them, why are they all the same? They give the same thing. And then that relentlessly discuss the same topics over and over and over and over and over, promoting a belief system, promoting ideas and concepts to get people to agree with, you see, because that's what basically it's about. How do you get information? That means people to line up in formation with the same belief system, the same point of view, the same thoughts. Well, first of all, you have to understand, in my book, What You Think of Me is None of My Business, I didn't realize, even at the time of writing, I knew this was big for me, because I was always giving my power away, you see. And I was always, it was always about, what are people thinking of me? Do they like me? Don't they like me? Do I fit in? Don't I fit in? Am I pretty enough, thin enough, fat enough, this enough, good enough? Why? So that someone would like me, you see. So that and what did that mean? That and you really, when you really look at that, you go, you know, am I really likable? What does that mean? Well, it all depends on who the other person is that you're trying to impress. And what happens oftentimes, we're building our towers of Babel with all the beliefs and all the labels we can put on ourselves, all of our accomplishments, everything we've done, our story, you see. Then people promote and protect the story, and they promote and protect the belief system, and then people become police of themselves and their loved ones and family members and everybody else, to make sure everybody is lining up, queuing up, being the same and normal, because you want to fit in, you want to belong, you want to be successful. And you know, in school, being successful has to do with memorizing what someone else has told you is true and tested on by true or false. And if that's true, that means any other answer is false and wrong. And when you really get that, a lot of stuff comes with half-truths. It'll give you one side, like we're all one, and everybody's oneness, we're all the same. Well, that's a partial truth. It's not a total truth. You're one and different and separate and unified at the same, beyond time, beyond concepts. Told you when I saw my spiritual body, it's magnificent. Everyone has one. And somehow the veils were lifted for me in that moment, in that and energy, so that I could realize and perceive myself as to who I really am. And the biggest challenge that we really have, the greatest, is to really pursue our spiritual work. And without a preconceived notion, but I call it the divine experiment, to find out what's possible for me. what's possible for us. Who are we really? And yes, well, people, they want to, like, you put down ancient knowledge, but there's also, you have to realize how did that knowledge stay with us, whether they were chunking out words with chisel on rocks and stones, or writing it in certain books or on metals or found or whatever. Anybody and everybody can also manufacture that and produce that, or if you had enough money to tell her to printing and how control to get everybody to believe certain stories, you see, as if those are all true, that maybe your body was designed by some alien and all this. Well, yeah, maybe not, but you know what? That's not, I'm going to who I am, you see, and what's possible for me. And what happens, when you start to stand in that, and when they stand in your truth, I don't mean your truth, what your mind thinks. I'm not talking about your mind, what it makes up, who you are, your story, how you were hurt, how this was a great time for you, and this was a bad time, and you always putting us as the hero or the victim or the star of our own movie, and it's all about us and all of this stuff, and fitting into someone else's story, someone else's scenario, playing a part or a role in someone's life, their family, the business. So we're so bombarded with all that when you go to really learn, they'll call you weird, they'll call you strange, they call you a troublemaker. They call you, it's like, why did you do that? And the pressure is so great to conform. And that means con can be with it. The word can mean against. And to actually exhibit that consciousness. So the courage then, and I realize that my spiritual life, who I really am, that's the most important. Because when I'm there, I know you, I can actually truly love you, and love is not lust, that the opposite of fear. Love has no opposite. Fear is a manufactured thing. It's an overlay. We don't have that. So it's just a trick to make love and fear seem like they're together, opposites, two sides of the same coin. That's not. But for most people, it's lust. Like and dislike. I like you now, I hate you now. I like you now, I hate. So we're all in this realm where, even as in baby form, when we had that, you're dependent on these people to feed you the body, and then you're not thinking you're not the body, but to take care of you and to do this and that, and to be accepted or to be appreciated or to be loved and not to be hated or spat upon or just, and all of this stuff, because the pressure is so enormous in every way that to get a job, you must go over here to learn it this way to get the thing. You get the paper. It's on the paper because it's on words and letters. And then we give the paper the significance, the word of God, the divine, the totality of who we are, that those scribbles, those little things, those little blips. So to really, really, really maximize, use now, because this is all you have, and it's who you are, eternal, successive moments of now, and you are a divine being with all divine qualities and powers and abilities, and yet to actually bring those forth takes the greatest courage of all, you see. And you can do it.